Where the hell are you going?
It was time to break the silence. Ko whetu matarau te maunga. Ko awa tere te awa. Ko horauta te waka. Ko te kawa kawa mai tāwhiti te whenua. Ko hinerupe te marae. Ko te whānau o hinerupe te hapu. Ko ngā tiparau te iwi. Ko Lusan Takawingoa, he mana wahine ahau.
Welcome to Recovery Street, a stage performance where real people tell real stories. Not just any story, but their own.
My name is Lusan and I am 5 years and 2 months clean from drugs and alcohol. So my pepeha is very powerful for me and it's not something I ever had growing up. I was just a little girl and I didn't even know what was happening. It's something I've developed in my recovery, and my culture and my ability to connect with that in recovery has really helped me to put my pole in the ground and get to 5 years clean. You know, I was in addiction for 35 years, active addiction, and I did a lot of work while I was in treatment, but some of the issues I didn't get a chance to address or wasn't ready to address. Living in a violent relationship was not something I was ready to talk about when I first got to treatment. So this was an opportunity for me to support the kaupapa, but also to do something for myself.
For the past 6 years, Recovery Street has been a vision for Chris Ranui Malloy.
I am the director and producer of this mahi. Recovery Street is about giving people with addiction and mental health issues, giving them a voice to present their story of strength and hope on the stage.
The first thing we're going to do is we are going to...
So what we do is we gather a bunch of stories and we go through a rehearsal period, and those people present their own stories of their challenges with addiction and mental health. They present them on stage for about 10 minutes.
But then I met my biggest addiction of all, him. I found him intoxicating. It was really cool to be part of other people's stories as well as mine. And they're all so powerful and they're all so different. I felt my other cast members were really brave. You know, we're talking about stuff that is very personal. And we all just left it all on the table. I don't think anybody held back with anything.
Hey, where's my boy? Hey!
Chris is amazing. Chris is my colleague, my friend. He's like my big brother. And he's just, what I love about Chris and the way he worked with us is that he directed us, but he allowed us to do it the way that we wanted. It is our story. And he always checked in with us to make sure that we were telling our story the way that we wanted to.
So why has Chris chosen to work with recovering addicts?
So I am 6 years clean and sober from drugs and alcohol. Kind of throughout my lifetime had a struggle with drugs and alcohol, and I learnt kind of later on in life that I was masking mental health issues, and it got so bad that I was about to face a jail term, and I realised quite quickly the common denominator was drugs and alcohol. So I went to a treatment centre, which is a residential rehab. And I stayed there for about 4.5 months. And while I was in there, I started hearing all these amazing stories. Some were similar to mine, but these amazing stories of courage and hope. And being a creative artist myself, I thought these stories have to be told because people just don't know how hard it is and what people have gone through and how hard it is for them to stop self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. So that was kind of my goal, was to give voice to those suffering with addictions.
The vulnerability shown is extremely powerful and moving, especially watching our tāne get up and speak their truth, something you don't often see.
Like a chess game, I manoeuvred all these people into position, leveraged, manipulated them to where I wanted to be to maintain my drug addiction. And then, like chess, it was checkmate.
Kia ora tātou te whāngai, ko John toku ingoa, he tangata tarakino ino waipiro kai warawara hau. I'm John and I'm an addict.
I was exposed for all my behaviours, for the whole world to see.
For me, in order to maintain my addictions, I'd try to be someone else, do other things to impress people in order to get what I wanted to maintain my addiction. Yeah, often. So that was a very significant point in my life. 18 months ago, if that part didn't happen, I wouldn't be clean today. I wouldn't be in recovery. Yeah, so I'm very grateful for that in that respect. The life of addiction, or what addiction is to me, the behaviours that I was a self-centred person and would do everything and anything to maintain. So outside that life of deception, of corruption, lies, cheating, stealing, all those behaviours, that was my life.
But then my mask became permanent.
Getting my old self back, so the creative side, and what it actually does for me, it gives me an opportunity to help those while I'm in a position where I can help those that are where I was once. And I do that and not wanting anything in return, and that's a rewarding thing, and that's why I do this, and that's why I chose to do this, and I will continue to do this.
When did we pull the mask up? I forgot.
That was good, bro. I like that. I was watching it on
Energy! Energy! Not you, just me. Okay.
Chris is excellent as a director, and he can understand my story.
I finally manoeuvred everyone that I needed to move into position.
You know, there's still that kind of stereotype, as much as I don't want to kind of admit it, that, you know, we don't talk about our problems, we harden up and we just kind of get along with it, or it's a sign of weakness when you do speak up about, you know, these addiction issues. I suppose what's kind of changed my perspective, and which helps me now as a addictions counsellor working with men, is to let them know that the ultimate strength is that of being vulnerable and being able to communicate what is happening internally. I used to think that was kind of airy-fairy stuff, especially in a small town I grew up in, where the role models were like gang members or bushmen, and everyone played league. I think that archetype of men really stops our men in general talking about addiction issues and mental health issues, especially when the bar for addiction is set quite high. And I think that's one of the things that really kept me going with my drug and alcohol addiction was, while I'm not like Uncle so-and-so, because they drink, you know, or party for like 3 nights, 4 nights, you know, and I don't do that, or I'm not as bad as that person or that person. So that kind of comparison kind of kept me unwell in addiction for a long time.
So is stage acting a new method for healing our whānau?
What I've learned from the show, I suppose I'm constantly inspired by people's stories. Hearing someone's story and then watching them work through their story on stage and act certain elements of it, and the courage it takes to do that and the therapeutic benefits of that, I just feel grateful to be a part of it.